YouTube, it is August 28th. It is a Monday. This is our first full week of school. Last week we went Tuesday through Friday, and I'm actually really excited. I prefer a full week of school versus a partial week of school. I know that's kind of weird, but I think it's easier because you can use your Monday through Friday routines and you don't have to adjust things because you're missing days here or there. So I'm excited to have that full week. I'm excited to get my kiddos back. They get to choose. I said originally that I was going to have my students stay in their spots for 2 weeks, but I changed my mind because I think they're ready. I want to try it, and I think some of them will appreciate the fact that they can sit where they want to sit if I give them that chance. So today they get that first opportunity, which is pretty exciting. We are going to start introducing our weekly articles. So every week we read an article and we do a fun activity to introduce it, little clip, little video, something. And then I put up a question every day and they reread the article to answer that question and mark it down. So that's fun, and we're going to start working on that. We're also getting more into math. We're working on word problems or worthwhile mathematical tasks or real life problems, any of those titles, and how to kind of look at them and figure out what it's asking you. So that's kind of exciting. My weekend was a little bit nuts. So I spent Saturday at the Instacare with my son. He ended up receiving a severe sprain while he was playing soccer, which I understand injuries happen. But it's the first injury where the coach walked up and said, you might want to go get x-rays. The little trigger lights in your head as a mom, your panic lights are going off in your head and you're trying really hard to stay calm. Because this is the first kid that has played serious sports. They've always played sports, but this is like club soccer, and he's my oldest, so this is all new. But luckily it's just a sprain. He's being fitted for a brace this morning, and then hopefully making it back to school depending on the pain level. It's pretty miserable for him, so I felt bad. He's also extremely active, so laying around all weekend and being forced to do nothing about killed him. And he can't do PE or wall ball or anything this week, so he's already ready to die, and he hasn't even been to school. But yes, it's Monday, and I'm so excited to be back. I'm excited to get in the routine of things. We start specialties tomorrow, so that's a super exciting day. Today is early out. We get out, instead of at 3:15, we get out at 2:30, and we meet together as teams and do our PLC collaborations, and we talk about our data and our kids and our plans for our reteach and enrich that we do for math every 4 out of 5 days. So that's almost every day. But anyway, I have a bunch of stuff to prep and pull out since I spent most of my weekend taking care of a little gimp. And I will check in with you guys at the end of the day. Let's hope it's a good one. Afternoon, YouTube. Okay, I apologize for being in the car. I had to, after school, we had a PLC, so our collaboration meeting. And then I had to hurry and get home because I had to get my daughter to gymnastics. I admit, I want to be as honest as possible, and I admit that today was really rough. And it's bugging me a lot. Sorry, I'm an emotional human being. I can't pinpoint what is causing the problem. I just know there's a problem. So I felt very prepared, so it wasn't a lack of being prepared. I was planned out. I knew what I had to teach. I had everything prepped and ready. So that shouldn't be the issue. I ended up moving one little boy. He's done actually very well. He's one that I was warned about that probably would have problems. I moved him, and normally if you move a kid and say, I'm sorry, you've now lost the privilege to sit where you want, they kind of go, oh my gosh, and try to fix it, right? So this was not this little guy at all. I mean, not the rest of it. He was sorry, he did well, he focused, he tried to get stuff done, but it didn't normally triggers that chain effect, where if you do that to one kid, the rest of them go, oh, I gotta be good, I have to be good. that didn't happen. So I had these 4 kids on a table, and I couldn't predict it because they've never sat at a table before, and they were totally off task all day long. And I give them a strike, 3 strikes. So now I have to find places for 4 kids to sit. They can't choose for the rest of the week. So I was a little bit frustrated. I was frustrated because what normally will trigger another student to get ready didn't get ready. So that had me frustrated and overwhelmed because I couldn't, even when I pulled the child out and said, hey, we have a problem, blah, 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 it was very much an attitude of I don't care. And I can deal with a lot, but when you just don't care, it's like, well, how can I make you care? So I can't make you suddenly care that you're in trouble. So that was a little frustrating. I have another little girl that is extremely struggling with staying on task, and she can't seem to get started, and if she gets started, she can't stay started. And does that make sense? It probably doesn't make sense. Right now I'm rambling and I realize that, but I'm so discombobulated about all of it. I don't know what to do today, and I'm frustrated because I don't feel like I should be having these kind of problems this early into the year. I feel like, dude, I'm a veteran teacher. I've done this for a very long time. So why is it suddenly kicking my butt? So can't get this child to do anything. If she starts, I am extremely lucky, but there's no way she's going to finish it. Even if I'm saying, okay, everyone write this down. Okay, everyone do this, and everyone's taking the social cues and doing it, she'll just kind of sit there and look at me. And then I'm wondering, well, maybe it's my schedule, because my schedule is really tight right now, and it has lots of little pieces. And some of those little pieces go away after a couple weeks because things start to flow together a little bit better. But it felt very, very, very choppy today. And that's frustrating, and I don't feel like there's enough time, and I'm wondering how to engage my students. Anyway, I don't like to be a woe is me kind of person, especially with teaching, because it's something I love and I'm so passionate about, but I don't know how to fix it right now, and I'm frustrated. So I'm going to prep some stuff for tomorrow because my to-do list is really long, and I'm going to call a couple of my best friends who are teachers and talk to them and try to get some ideas, because I just feel a little bit. So there's my tip for the day, is if you are a new teacher or you're an old teacher, make sure that you have someone that you can talk to and that you could rely on and you trust their opinion, so that you can have someone to vent, because I love my spouse and he's the most fantastic human being, but sometimes as a teacher you need another teacher to understand what you're going through. Does that make sense? So that's my thing. And if you're not married, just find somebody. Just find somebody. That's what you need. You need a colleague or a friend that does what you do so you can understand each other. I'm done ranting. I'm done complaining. I'm going to do some brainstorming. I'm going to do some thinking. I'm going to get my head on straight. Show up tomorrow and pretend that it's a brand new day and try to have a really good attitude and not let today get me down. My kids did still win, because I thought I can't punish everybody for these 4 kids. That's not fair. So they did win. They did get a Yippee Skippy. So they have something else in the jar. They're pretty excited. And we start planning time tomorrow, which is, oh, so glorious. Anyway, I'm going to check out now, and then I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Hi again. So it's evening, and I just wanted to check in. I'm tired. My makeup's all melting off, but I had to check in because I feel better. And I didn't like leaving it the way I left it. So I was feeling frustrated because all the people I wanted to call, who are normally my go-to people, weren't around to answer my phone, or their phone. And so I was feeling a little bit stressed because I didn't know what to do. And I called my mentor over the writing program that I'm doing. It's a good friend of mine who's done this writing program before, and so we start talking about writing. I'm like, okay, so I'm doing this, what kind, just asking for help, and she was so helpful and sweet and kind of made me excited for tomorrow for writing. And then I sat down with my cute spouse and I said, okay, I need help with my schedule. And he's really good at looking at like time elements and figuring out how things work. And so I'm like, here's what I need to do. And I showed him how the afternoon was really peacey. And so we discussed and talked about things that couldn't change in my schedule that are not up to me and things that could. And we found a solution that's going to, we're going to kind of do an A-B day schedule. So like I will have language Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And I use mentor sentences by Jivey. So instead of having it be 15 minutes, it's going to be longer. And we're going to do kind of like a 2-day thing on each day. But I think it's going to work. I think it's going to be okay because we can, if it takes longer, if we go a little bit more in depth, that's fine. And then that gives me, instead of like a 10-15 minute block for social studies, I can do 2 blocks of a half an hour twice a week. So it's not an everyday thing, but I think it's going to be just fine. I think it'll work out really great. Well, I don't know. I'm excited about it. I guess I'll find out in a week or so when I've tried it for a few days. And I feel like I know better what I'm doing. So yay for talking it out with someone. Yay for a bit of inspiration. Yay for not going to bed totally overwhelmed. So it works. Those days as a teacher when you feel totally overwhelmed and you think, I can't do this, you always know you just have to give yourself a little time to process, to look at it, to try to find out the solution, and then it's not quite so bad. Anyway, so I just wanted you to know that things are good and tomorrow's going to be an even better day. Good morning, YouTube. It is August 29th. It is Tuesday. Tuesdays are the hardest day of the week for me. I am more tired on Tuesdays. I feel a little groggy on Tuesdays, but today I am determined to have a great day. I'm wearing my power jacket. I love this. It makes me happy, probably because you can see me from a mile away. But I love it, and wearing something really fun on the day that I like the least is good for me. I'm very excited about today. We fixed our schedule, so I think it's going to help. I have my little friends who have lost their places, which for me, because I have seating where they can choose where they sit every day, I just take a whiteboard marker and I write on the desk actually where I want them to sit for the next week. And because it's whiteboard marker, it just comes right off. It's easy to clean. It's really great. So I suggest that if you're using a seating kind of like I am. Today we actually went and bought Tootsie Rolls because we're going to see how many licks it takes to get through a Tootsie Pop. I have a video that a colleague gave to me that actually tells how many. A college group figured it out. So I think my kids are going to really like that for science today. We're going to talk about procedures and keeping track of what steps you did and how if you just say start to lick your lollipop, there's going to be a wrapper on it. So we're going to go through all those steps, kind of get ready. So I'm going to quickly get ready. I have to make my badges for our planning time, and they were not completed by the time I got done last night. So I have to finish that. I'm going to prep my computer, open everything that I need to, and I will check in with you after the day. Keep your fingers crossed. It's going to be a good one. Good afternoon, friends. Well, remember how I was keeping my fingers crossed that today would be a good day? It was. It was spectacular. Well, I don't know. Spectacular might be kind of a strong word to describe it, but it was really, really good. My students that had struck out, there we go, the day before, I wrote their names on a desk and they sat there and they were great. I had a positive response from parents and they really were trying to be really good. So I appreciate that a lot. The new afternoon schedule seemed to go really well. I didn't feel as frazzled, and maybe that's just me, and maybe I'm starting to feel the routine a little bit better, because this is the second time I've taught 5th grade. I taught last year, but I only taught half a year last year because my husband finished graduate school, so we moved at the beginning of the school year, then moved back in January, and I started teaching then. So this is the first time I've ever had to start the year in 5th grade. So there's a learning curve to the beginning of the year. There's a lot of adjustment, there's a lot of change, there's a lot of procedures. Ugh, I hate those things. I wish they came Like you could send, if you've ever seen my monkey's uncle, when he creates a record and the monkeys listen to the record and he does everything he tells them. Well, I wish I could have sent a record to my students over the summer and be like, here's what I want you to do, blah, 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 blah. And then they came in and they just did it. That'd be great. But half the adventure, I guess, of teaching is teaching kids and learning how to teach based on the different needs of your students. But it was a good day. We ended up doing a lollipop experiment. How many licks to the center of a lollipop? Our class average was 320. So that was fun because not only did we get to talk about procedures, we talked about math. You know, every 10 licks they had to make a tally mark. So how many licks do you now have? And taught them how to do averages and that kind of thing. So that was fun. We watched the video about the history of the Tootsie Roll and the Tootsie Pop. So that was fun. It is an old candy. In case you didn't know, it's been around forever. And let's see, what else did we do today? Reading worked really well. My kids really starting to get into reading. They know the procedures. They know the routines, which is so glorious. It's so glorious. The more they start to get things done. Math, they were engaged. And I told them today, if they were engaged all day today during math, I would have a fun activity. So, because they did it, I have to now like pull through. So tonight I have to, or I get to, go to a reception with my girls. My son has soccer practice tonight. So I'm going to go to the reception. I'm going to come home. And then our little friend from Ohio has been storing her stuff for college here. So she's going to come get those things. And then when she's done and my girls are in bed, I am going to scramble to come up with an activity. I have an activity, but I have to create it. And I'm hoping that it works because in my head it's awesome. Well, at least somewhat engaging. So I'm hoping that that's the case when I actually put it together. So I'm going to do that. So it's probably going to be a late night for me, but I think it'll pay off tomorrow for math. I think it'll give them a bit of a change of pace, which will be good. But yeah, I can't believe tomorrow's the middle of the week. There's a part of it that feels like this has been the longest week ever. But I guess it does feel that way because it's the first full week we've had in school. So I'm going to go get ready to go and gather up my girls, and I will talk to you in the morning. Good morning, YouTube. It is Wednesday, August 30th. First of all, I want to send out my thoughts and prayers for the people of Houston and now Louisiana. I should have mentioned it before, and I kind of feel terrible that I haven't. It's one of those things that I turn the news on in my car, and I'm kind of just drawn in, and I worry about the people, and I just wish there was a way to help. I keep thinking, how can my students and I help? I wonder if we could do a book drive or a blanket drive. So if you live in the area and you have an idea of maybe you live somewhere not affected but close, and we could make blankets and send books or something as a school or as a class, and you think that would be a great idea, will you please let us know? I'm going to come up with something because I worry about the kids and I worry about all the families. Being a mom of kids myself, that would be super hard. Switching gears, not to be disrespectful, I'm excited for today. I'm excited for math. We were trying, I told him yesterday, I'm like, okay, if you stay with me, we'll change gears a little bit. So I came up with a game, and I'm excited, well, an activity, I guess it's not really a game. The game I wanted to play doesn't work with this lesson, which means I get to share it with you later. So that's good. So the activity I came up with instead is around my room, there are these little superhero cards. And on each card is a word problem. Then my students have a recording sheet that looks, let me do this one. Looks something like this. So if it matches, they put the letter from the card in that box. So they're looking for the equation, the expression that matches this story problem. And because that's what we've been working on, is understanding word problems and story problems and making sure that they make sense. So they match the letter, and then they solve for the answer. Now, I wanted a way, because I have such a variety of levels in my classroom, so I wanted a way that I could differentiate for my different students. So I went through and marked them higher, regular, on my roll. No one will see that but me. That was just for me to know how many copies to make. And the first side of the worksheet only has 6 problems, and that happens to be the first 6 whoops, the first 6 letters in the alphabet. So what I did is I printed off the first 6 letters, so I have their cards, and then on the back I put orange. I know it's super fancy here, coding. And I'm going to put those in one area, and they're going to work on this. My higher groups, their cards have blue instead of orange, and they have 12 questions, and it's 2-sided. So I can differentiate between, okay, who's not going to be able to get as many done, who may not understand it, because I want them to feel successful. There's also a third level, which I'm not pulling out right now, where all of the problems have the same sets of numbers that they're using. So everybody has like 3s, 3, a 5, a 4, and something else, kind of idea. And so they can't just, if they started to recognize that there's a pattern, like, oh, I'm just looking for, 3, 6, 2, 20 on my card. Most of my kids are not at this point, but if there's some kids that are at that point, then you can put them in the highest level, and all the numbers on all the problems are the same, and so they really have to pay attention to what is happening in the problem to know whether if they're adding and subtracting and multiplying and dividing. So I'm super excited about that. Like I said, right now I just have the 2 sets. I have my orange set and my blue set, because I don't think anyone's ready for the more advanced set yet. These also print really well in grayscale, so you could also print them like, oh, your lower set is on pink, your upper set is on green, or something like that. But I laminated them, and so I'm going to go put those up around my room to get ready for math today. Writing, we are working on our sorts. So by a sort, I mean that we're talking about the parts of a paragraph. And yes, we're in 5th grade, but I'm amazed at how many struggle with the parts of a paragraph and the topic sentence and the main ideas or main events, and then the evidence and examples. So what we're doing right now is I gave them a list of things yesterday about my favorite vacations, and they had to sort them. They're like, oh, these are all about vacations. So that became my topic sentence. That's what the whole paragraph was going to be about. So right now we're just sorting to try to find out what things, what facts, what examples fit together. And then we're going to take that and transfer into, well, now let's put it into a graphic organizer, and now let's put it into a paragraph. And then later in the year, because of the way they're written, it's really easy to break them then into 5-paragraph essay. Okay, so this is what it looks like when we're all done. So here's the topic sentence of this sort. This is what it's all about, is my favorite vacations. And then we went through and I told them a story about 3 of my favorite vacations, what we did, how much fun it was, kind of things. And they started to recognize, oh, these things go together. So we had the North Sea, Lake Powell, and Guatemala. And then I had different events, examples that went in that tell why this is one of my favorite vacations. So we sorted it like this yesterday. Today we are going to do one about pets, and it breaks it down so they don't know what this sort's about, and I'm going to kind of back up. It's a little bit easier one than this one, and say, okay, see if you can figure out what the topic sentence is. What's this whole sort going to be about, which will be pets, and then what are the main ideas underneath the topic, and it's dog, cat, I think, and fish. And then they have to figure out which facts, which examples go underneath which animal, which is your evidence, and then your examples. So I'm really excited. I think I've heard great things about it. It's a program that my friend was telling me about that last year she had done with her 5th graders. The 4th and 5th grade teams did it, and their writing scores went up tremendously because they started basics and the kids really understood the basics before they went bigger. And now that she has the fourth graders now in fifth grade, she said that they're already blowing stuff out of the water, which is great. That's the way we want it to be. But I am not at that school, so I do not have the fourth grade teaching the same way. So I'm trying this on my own. And if I, for the next year or so, if I have really great results, then I'm gonna take it to fourth grade and say, hey, I want you to join me on this. I think this will make a difference for us. So those are 2 highlights of my day. 2 things I love. I love math. I think it'll be fun. I also am excited for writing because I like the idea that I'm teaching something and we get to have great discussion and debates. Well, no, this fact fits here. So I'm very excited about that. I'm excited, of course, because I have planning time again. I'm hoping to get some planning done for next week because right now I have nothing in my plan book. It's pretty sad. And get some grading done. So I'm gonna go. I need to make some things. I need to get my day set up, and I'm gonna try and knock it out of the park and get a lot done. So anyway, have a marvelous day, and I will check in at the end. Good morning, YouTube. It is finally Thursday. I feel like the days are going faster, but like school day, I think is going faster, but my overall day seems really, really long. Maybe that's wrong. I think the days feel fast, but the week feels really long. Does that make sense? I don't know. It's been a crazy long week. So we're on Thursday of our first full week of school, and I think that's probably why it feels so weird is we have never had a full week yet. You know, last week was a 4-day week. This is a 5-day week. Next week is a 4-day week. Whatever. I'm really excited about today. I'm excited about math. A team member and I started talking about what we wanted to do for math, and he is going to borrow the lesson I did yesterday, and then I was going to borrow an idea he gave me yesterday, and we made Tic-Tac Splat. So this one is for recognizing the expression or the equation, and then so this, by the time this video goes up, this will be live in my TPT store. I'll link it down below if you're interested, but I'm working on Tic-Tac Splat for a number of different math concepts, but it's a lot of fun. So you read the card, which I have to cut here in just a second. Read the card, and if it has a match, you turn it upside down and put it on. And if there's no match, you put it on a splat up here. And some of the splats are at the top, some of the splats are in different places. It really doesn't matter. I just thought they were fun. Anyway, if it doesn't have a match, you put it in a splat right side up. And then your goal is to cover in all 9 of these squares before you cover in all 3. If you can cover in 9 before the 3 splats, then your team wins, and you just keep track of, hey, we made it, because you work together as a team. You want the kids to be reading it out loud. So like this card says 3 plus 6 times 2. So they have to look for 3 plus 6 times 2. If they find that, they put it on. If they don't find it, they put in splat. If you get 3 splats, then you have to erase the board and you have to start again. So the idea is you want them, I don't like it when they're competing against each other. Oh, I'm better than you. It's, hey, let's read this together. Let's make sure we're doing it right, finding it together, and then seeing how many. And then you could be like, oh, this team is the highest team. They got, 6 games or whatever. So I need to go cut all the guards. I decided to color code them so they match the different splat boards, just for fun. I mean, it really doesn't matter. I could do them all on white, but I had the paper. I thought I would use it. I'm excited about that. I'm excited because today is my late day, so after school I will stay and hopefully get a lot done. I'm super excited for my class. They earned 3 compliment Yippee Skippies. So those are the bigger fuzz balls than the smaller ones, and they only get those if they have a compliment. Well, there was a bunch of them helping me with a project in the hallway yesterday, and every teacher that went by complimented them. So they were feeling very proud of themselves and very excited. So right now they are more yellow than red, which is good. I'd rather actually have them earn a party or earn an activity day because someone is complimenting them than because of the fact that they did better than me. Especially it was good because yesterday they did not win. I won. We have a few friends that can't keep their mouths closed. So I'm going to have to, I haven't quite figured out what I'm going to do with this one. We'll figure it out. I haven't given up on her yet. It's only day 8, so I can't give up yet. So we're going to do that. and we're gonna get started, and we're gonna have a great day because that's the kind of mood I'm in. We had a great rain, not a rainstorm, but we had a great thunder and lightning storm. The lightning and thunder was huge. Like, I thought the thunder must have been right above, or the lightning right above my house. It was like someone flashed a light, like a strobe light, right through the windows, and then the house would rattle. And of course, my little guys were all worried that they were going to be affected by the hurricane now, and they're going to be flooded, because that's what they've heard at school, and that's what they've heard, you know, by my husband and I. That's what we're talking about. So we had to tell them that Utah is kind of far away from Texas, and we're landlocked, and so the likelihood of a hurricane hitting us is pretty minimal. But once they were kind of reassured about that, they felt better. So anyway, I have got to go put some papers away that we sorted yesterday, and I have to cut a whole lot of these. So I'm going to sign off, and I'll talk to you later. Happy Friday, YouTube. I am so excited because it is a Friday. I have made it through the week. Seriously, fastest school days, longest week. But we made it. Well, I guess I shouldn't say we've made it. I still have Friday to get through. Knock on wood. Today's going to be great. I just think it's going to be great because, well, A, it's Friday. B, I feel like I'm prepared and I have things planned. I was given a few curveballs last night. You know, I stayed late. I got my grading all caught up. Mostly I'm grading more than I probably would right now, just because I want my students to recognize that it's important and I want them to turn their stuff in. Stayed late, and I had to get home to help with soccer practice, shuffling children. And so I got home and had a small scare with my youngest daughter. Don't worry, she's fine. But that about gave me a heart attack. After that was over, I was trying to work on school stuff, and I couldn't kind of do it. And then I thought, I'm gonna rally. I did it. And I got all the stuff prepared. And then one of my files that I had uploaded a month ago and that was corrupted was the other piece of the project I'd been working on last night. So I was kind of like, okay, it's 9 o'clock, 9:30. I need to let it go. So I was so proud of myself. I did let it go. I got into bed. I got to read for a little bit, which is like my favorite thing to do when I'm tired and stressed. And I got to relax, and I slept well. That's probably why today is so marvelous. I feel great. I got up this morning. I have a plan of things I need to get done, and I don't have a long time to get it done, but I feel confident because I know what has to get done. I know what things need to get done before a certain point, and then I can work on other things. Anyway, I'm going to command, conquer, and kick today's butt. Okay, I know that's silly. But when I was a student teacher and I was having a rough day, one of my roommates told me, you know what, she sent me a note the next day, and she's like, command, conquer, and kick butt today, Heather. And I love that. So that's kind of become my mantra, is I'm going to command, conquer, and kick butt. So today, I'm commanding, I'm conquering, and I'm going to kick some butt. Anyway, so I'm going to get going. I have to finish cutting these. There are some passwords to get onto a computer program. Get those all ready, get some things prepped, and I'm going to have a marvelous day. So I promise I will check in with you after school because it is Friday, and then we'll go from here. Oh, I have to show you this. Look how cute. See this little bouquet of flowers? One of my students brought it to me. Like, it even has ribbon, like pinned in, like you'd see on a real bouquet. But I had a student bring it to me yesterday with a little card that I apparently am the best teacher in the history of teachers. Talk about making your self-esteem go up a few notches. Teachers need that once in a while. You need to be reminded that you're not a complete screw up. Anyway, I gotta go get stuff done. I gotta go move it to high gear, so I'll talk to you later. Bye. Howdy! Alright, just kidding. First of all, it is so stinking hot today. I'm really glad it's Friday. I'm sorry, I'm like all dewy. It's hot. Which I'm kind of ready for the fall. So if we could kind of grace ourselves into fall, it's not September 1st. I would like, that to happen. Fun fact for September 1st is that September 1st night, try this again. Fun fact, September 1st, 2017 is the date of the last excerpt of Harry Potter. Cool know that, thank you to my husband who sent that to me today. I was like, oh, that's really super cool. Today was good. I don't know. Today I just felt like I did a lot of teaching. They accomplished a lot of things. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so sorry. I'm so warm. I have a Hall of Fame board. So today we used our Hall of Fame board for the first time. I use my Hall of Fame board, which is also like when you do whole brain teaching and they have where they go up. But I use it for academics. So if they got 100% on their vocabulary test, or if they got 4 out of 5 right or higher on their math quiz, or when we get into guided reading, every time they do their guided read groups, they get a sticker, and then they can add those up and move up the levels. So they start with learner and then go to leader and all the way up to Hall of Fame. So that was fun. It was fun to see that, which has been on my board for 2 weeks, and kids are like, what is that? To see the stickers. So that was kind of fun. I'm hoping to get a few kids excited to try a little bit harder for their vocabulary test next week. This week they only had 8 words, not horrible. Next week I think they have 6, maybe 7. So I know they can do it. They just need to do it. And we talk about them, and I want to talk about them more than I did this week. Like even just going over them and having someone tell your neighbor what's the definition of trident, or those kind of things. But you live and learn, and for some groups you don't have to do extra practice and they just get things. And in some groups you as a teacher have to do a whole lot of baby steps to help them get through it. So I mean, it really just depends on your group, and you have to, as a teacher, be willing to kind of play around and decide what's more important for you. So that was good. We took our first math quiz. We use that data then to break our groups up for the next week for reteach and enrich, and we reteach and enrich the week previous. Does that make sense? So this week we were talking about UPS, understand, plan, solve with word problems, and so that next week, even though we're moving on to place value, they will be reteaching and enriching based on the word problems and the stuff we taught them this week, which is great. I love the way it works. So we split up our groups. I have that already done. I know what I'm supposed to teach next week. I have the medium lows. So that's kind of fun. I know what I'm going to teach. Got that ready. But yeah, pretty good. Kids got done. Today was hurricane, which is what I do at the end of the week, where I spend about 10-15 minutes and we clean everything out. So we go through their buckets and they take out all the extra papers and either turn them in or put them in the folder where they go, which is great because a lot of kids go, oh yeah, was this turned in today? I hate that. Why is it that when you tell them turn it in, turn it in, turn it in, they don't? So we did that. We wiped off desks with wipes. We do a deep cleaning of kind of make sure the library's straight. So that happens every day, but Hurricane Day, we really kind of go through everything and just make it look nice. So that the beginning of the next week, you're starting fresh and clean. So that's a lot of fun. We read a lot today. I got to read out loud to them a lot, which was enjoyable. And yeah, that was my week. I feel like overall it had a really rough start, but I feel like it made great progress as the week progressed. They're getting smarter, they're understanding more procedures, which make me super happy, and that makes my job even easier because I have to do less and less of the little management. And if I teach it right and I take the time to really go through it, then I have to do less babysitting later in the week. So we're gonna get there. We're not quite there yet, but we're making progress, and that makes me very, very excited. Well, it's the weekend. It's also a long weekend, which is lovely. I'm actually only teaching 3 days next week. We have Monday off, and then Wednesday, our entire school is going on a special field trip like an hour away from where we're at. And the place where we're going, because we are a Chinese immersion school, they have a special Chinese exhibit. There's the word. A Chinese exhibit that we get to go and experience and take all the kids. So that's going to be great. Means I don't have to teach 3 days, which is also a little bit of a challenge because you only have 3 days to teach. So that means I have to get my honey in gear. I need to do some planning. I need to make sure I know what I'm doing for math for next week and get my science ready. Those are the two things that I know vaguely what I'm doing, but I need to get it down to the nitty gritty. Make sure I have all the pieces I need for science and make sure I have any printables or whatever or manipulatives for math. So that's my assignment over the weekend. I'm also going to enjoy my family. We have a friend that is coming into town to visit us for the weekend. So I don't know if I'll vlog any of that kind of stuff, but I'm excited. Like I said, it's the end. So I hope you go and do something fun. Even if it's not something big, go do something for yourself. So if you want to curl up with a good book, curl up with a good book. Take a bubble bath. Go out to dinner. Do something just kind of for yourself this weekend, because as teachers, we work really hard and we give so much of ourselves 5 days a week that sometimes we need to remember to take a little bit of time for ourselves. Anyway, so that's my bit of advice for you on this beautiful, glorious, roasting hot Friday. Have a glorious, marvelous week, and remember, learning is magic.